give us briefly 3 or 4 of the main goals of your plans next year if you're elected?
Okay, the very first thing that I'd like to do, and I think the most important thing of all of the leadership of the Student Association next year, is to build a working relationship with the incoming president. We have broken our platform into 3 different areas. The first one is empowerment, and I think that that is the direct effect of building that working relationship with the new president. We want to build a relationship in which the Student Association and the students which come to it are proactively involved in the decision-making processes at the university rather than the Student Association reacting to decisions made by the university. We believe that by building a relationship that's built on mutual respect and understanding that students are the key aspect of this university, we'll be able to get President Knapp more involved with students on campus and more likely to reach out to students when making decisions that will affect people all across this campus. The second one is technology. We believe that universities which embrace technological advances excel in today's world, and right now this university is not doing that as much as it should. We want to expand wireless capabilities. We want to encourage the university to convert all their email to Gmail instead of Cmail to eliminate quota issues. And we want to encourage the university to implement more technological advances in the classroom. Finally, our last one is responsibility. We don't believe that a student association that wastes thousands of dollars on programs which aren't used by students, T-shirts, and other spirit-building activities is a responsible student association. We want the Student Association to recognize its place within the campus as an advocacy organization, not as a spirit-building organization or a programming council, and thus stop wasting money on services which aren't used by students. Give that money back to students, back to student organizations, because we feel that's the responsible thing for our organization to do.
All right. What makes you different than the other candidates?
Quite frankly, it is my experience. We're running on a platform of experience matters. I'm the only candidate who has experience within the executive branch of the Student Association. Quite frankly, I have extensive experience within the branch. 2 years ago, under Uday Shakur, I was the Vice President of Public Affairs, and as we can remember, Gina Fernandez and I were very involved in the working operation of the organization. It was a hard experience, I'll be quite honest. It was tumultuous. There were problems in the Student Association, but we did work through them. Believe it or not, Uday did a lot of things that really did help students on this campus. The good news was for me was that I got to learn every single thing that goes on within that organization. This year, I almost moved down to the Director of Dining Services. Everyone asked me, why did you go down to that position? I felt it was a very important position as a new dining service provider came into the university, and I got to build a working relationship with that new organization. That was a very important experience for me, especially because it mirrors the experience that the next president will have so similarly. I was inviting in a new service provider just as the next president invites a new university president. I had the experience to build a relationship in which they realized that students did have a voice and that they had to listen to that voice in order to succeed on this campus.
You said that the Student Association is not a programming board and it's not a spirit-building organization. So looking at the essay right now, what programs specifically would you cut or do you think need to be gotten rid of?
I think that Lamar has done a fantastic job of cutting back on a lot of the programming which was originally going on in the Student Association. I think that the Colonial Coach program needs to be significantly altered, if not transferred to a different organization on campus. Quite frankly, that is a program which a good number of students do benefit from. However, it costs $15,000 that are taken directly from student organizations. The student fee is a student activity fee that goes towards student activities on campus. Student organizations complain every year that they don't have enough money to put on programming which will really affect this campus. and yet we're spending $15,000 to shuttle people to the airport and not making them pay anything for it. I don't think that's necessarily responsibility. I think that that's, once again, that's looking for students to praise you for what you're doing. That's not being responsible with what this organization is meant to do. Students give money to the Student Association to create programming on campus. That's not our money to decide where it should go. I don't think that being elected to Student Association President or Vice President gives me some sort of a mandate to decide where $15,000 should be allocated. Quite frankly, that money is not for us to decide. It's for us to allocate to student organizations. And I think that understanding that is fundamental to being a responsible leader in this organization.
Which do you think is more important next year? You being the one that's, working with NAP, or you being the one working with the students, or a combination of both? Which one do you think has more weight? Because I just feel like I've heard a lot more about NAP than I have heard about students.
Oh, from me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have, and that's true. I think that this is a very important year, and I think that understanding that this year is different is part of what should have happened before anyone decided to run. Because this isn't a year where we're trying to involve students, as we say every year and usually fail to do. This is a year when we have the opportunity to build a new relationship with a new university president. And what I want you to contemplate is, could the relationship with Trachtenberg have been better? It certainly could have been worse. I think that, Rafi Terzian, who was the first president under SJT, certainly did a good job of making Trachtenberg listen and have those office hours where he did listen to students. Could it have been better where Trachtenberg thought, this is a campus where I have to be involved in student activities, where I have to go out and meet students in the places where they are congregating rather than asking them to come to me. And I believe that it could have been better. And I think that that's the most important thing that next year's president can do, is build that relationship where that president wants to interact with students and wants to come to students and ask them what they want. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, it's more important that the student voice be heard by the administration than by us. Because we're just the group that's supposed to be helping them get their voice to the administration. We're not enacting the change. And every single year that I've seen the Student Association elections, that's always been a question for me. Are we enacting the change? And I guess until this year, when I was really able to be that advocate for a certain issue and be the leader of what is almost sort of like a smaller student association with a smaller scope, that I really understood what the purpose of this organization is. Because we're not enacting change. We're just being a conduit for ideas to flow. We're almost just like the lube for the ideas to go back and forth between the administration and the students. Because that's what's most important, because once again, not every idea and not every experience that's been had at this university has come from this head. There's 20,000 students on this campus, and our job is to get 20,000 different experiences to the administration. And so I think getting the administration more involved with students on this campus is more important than talking to students on an individual basis.
What's something you think people probably don't know about you?
I hate to be lame. I'd like to say that I was like arrested once or something, but I actually speak Spanish. I spent 6 months in Ecuador during my sophomore year of high school. But then again, it does get a little quirkier because they're the ones who taught me how to drink.